Hello everybody! Today we're going to go through a run through how to do a risotto. I know you already have an idea, but today we're going to try and get the perfect risotto for you to enjoy, to give to your friends. So we'll just get into it. Always fire. Always make sure that your fire is quite strong, not too hot, so we won't burn our first ingredients going in there. Warm it up, get it warm, and always sharp knife. Remember, we need to sharpen our knife, so angle and keep the angle 30 degrees if possible, and just put both hands if you can, and just go as quick as possible. Okay, so we have a very nice sharp knife, and we're going to slice our onion to start with our base for our risotto. The 4-finger rule always, and just slice very gently. You don't need to rush. Okay, just keep it calmly, and just make sure that you're doing whatever you're doing with perfect ways, and then just go extra carefully, slicing 19 degrees, and that way we have beautiful pieces of small onions that we need to start frying in our pan over here. If you don't have lots of time, use the mandarin. Remember the mandarin, yeah? So what we need to do is get our mandarin here, just drop it. It's going to be very fine this time, so I wouldn't recommend to use it, but if you don't have time, go for it. Use it. It's okay. Alright? Make sure you don't get any finger pieces in there. That's important. So, we have our pulp, which I'm not going to use. That is for you to use, okay? Because you don't have time. I don't want excuses that I don't have time to cook. There are ways how to diminish the time for cooking. So, what I have in here is my pan, some hot oil in there now, which I'm using mixed olive oil with vegetable oil, and wow, that's really nice, beautiful. I'm going to use all my onions inside. That's what we want. We want that really, really fizzy. Wow, look at that. Okay, and give it a good swirl. If it's going to start burning, just remove it. Remember, control of heat. Yeah, just remove it off the fire and just let it cook in here. So, what I'm going to do is continue with the onions, and I've got prepared my risotto arborio. For one portion, all you need is half a cup. If you're going to do a double portion, that's for a main course. Put it in, okay? I'm going to put 3 portions in there, because later on I'm going to do some arancini, and I will show you how to do arancini in our next lesson. So, give it a good twirl around, and keep on mixing your rice until the rice starts getting into a transparent. You're looking for a transparent, opaque, pearly looking grains of rice, yeah? So, once we have that opaqueness, that beautiful, invisible look in our rice, what do we need next? Remember the rules that we went through last time? Applicate here as well, okay? So now, our main ingredient, our rice flour, is in. What we need is our stock. So I've prepared a lovely stock, which is plain, a plain stock in here. And I'm just going to put it inside. That's what we need. We need that. Okay? That's how the rice will start cooking. And we'll continue doing that. until the liquid has actually evaporated into the rice. So always be careful to keep on stirring when you're doing risotto. It's important that you stir. Otherwise, it's going to evaporate, the water will evaporate, and the rice will begin to burn, and we don't want that, okay? So we'll keep on stirring, and while we are doing that, we'll begin to realize that now we have bubbly effect in our risotto. Once we have a bubbly effect, what we need to do is to continue putting stock. Okay? Stir again. Once it bubbles and you see the evaporation happening, again, put some stock in. That is what we need. Now, you'll ask me, you haven't used butter. Many Italians love to use butter in the risotto. I personally, I'm trying to stay away from the butter. Why? Because I'm trying to cook healthy. So just some olive oil mixed with some peanut or canola or vegetable oil, whatever you have, just into your pan. All right. Our onions, you can use onions, you can use some garlic if you want, some spring onion, whatever. This is how we are creative. Just experiment and try. Okay? And after that, we've put our risotto in and we're cooking. So we're going to continue doing what we've been doing for the last 2-3 minutes now. Putting in our stock. It's important letting it evaporate, and once it's evaporated, you put more stock. This is how we know that the risotto is actually coming together and seeping all that beautiful, savory, umami taste and flavors we have in our stock. You know how to do a stock now. Okay? So what I'm going to do with this risotto is a very basic one, because I want to show you how we can achieve from just one basic risotto base different kinds of risottos. Today we're going to go for just two. But if you have a simple base, which is a Parmesan risotto, you could do a lemon risotto. But if I'm going to mix, let's say, dill with lemon, it's not bad, but I don't really like that combination. We're going for a good, colorful, flavorsome combination. So for me, perfectly is a Parmesan risotto. We can actually turn that Parmesan risotto into anything we want. We can add dill, we can add some tomato, we can add marrows, we can add whatever we want, because our base is a broad base risotto, which is, as we've spoken about, Parmesan. Instead of Parmesan, use anything you have in your fridge. Okay? You have mozzarella. I found some mozzarella here. Okay? I'll use that at the end. Why not? But I've got some cream cheese, some Philadelphia cheese, okay, which I could use as well. But I'm gonna stick to my Parmesan because I believe Parmigiano is the best, most flavorsome cheese that can go into a risotto. So over here is my pre-cooked risotto I had earlier, because risotto takes some time to cook. We don't have all that time, so I'm gonna put my cooked risotto inside. Okay, and I'm gonna keep on stirring. So now we have a nice cooked risotto, and I'm going to continue adding some more of the stock. It's important that the stock is flavorsome. Remember, put good flavors in there and you're going to end up with a lovely stock. If you don't have time again, you know what to use, the cubes. And always taste your food. It's important. I've tasted my stock. I know that my stock is very flavorsome. So my risotto at the moment is flavorsome already. But we're going to add some more goodness to it. Some more stuff that eventually is going to give us the perfect flavorsome risotto. I'm nearly done over here. I'm gonna add my last few milliliters of stock. I'm going to add more heat to that because it's not bubbling and I want it to be bubbling away. And what I'm going to do now is got my dill, which I'm going to chop very finely. So I have my dill, I have some really beautiful fresh green beans, haricot vert. I've sliced them into long batons, as we've learned at school, sliced on an angle. And I've also sliced some wedges of tomato on an angle again. This way, as you could see, everything is nicely cut into our garnishes. This is going to be our garnish and our flavor. I've also prepared some ribbons of marrow, which do awesomely good for a garnish that we could use. And this is how I achieved. I got my peeler, remember tools are important, and just went lengthwise. And I got my ribbon. And remember what we learned last time, what takes longer goes in first. So, my risotto is nearly done here. Wow, beautiful. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to save some of the risotto because I would like to show you something very simple. So I'll save some apart. So this is what you do if you're going to, let's say, cook dinner for four friends, and you want to do two different risottos. You have one big base, half it, okay, and you have one half, and then I'm going to show you how to bring one out, okay. Now I'm going to put my cheese, my Parmesan. So I have my Parmesan risotto, which is done as a base. Wow, wow, that Parmesan makes all the difference in the risotto. It's also more creamier. Perfect. I'm going to get my haricot vert, my French beans, and just put it in there. Remember, they're harder than the tomatoes. So put them in there first. They're going to cook in within 1-2 minutes. Okay? And remember again, I like my veggies, and your veggies should be crisp, not flat, not brown. Nice color, that's what we're after. Color and texture. So the composition of our end dish would be great. Okay? So, we're nearly there. Wow, that is awesome. That is already done for me. But we can add some of our tomato in there for more color. Our salt, just a bit, and our pepper. Very important that we add our pepper at the end. And I'm going to stir. You see, it's nearly starting to cook, not cook but burn. So what I'm going to do is put my flame down. Okay, so manage to control my heat, and I'm going to try my risotto. Wow. Okay, it's still a bit hard. It's still good. It's a bit al dente. So remember, our risotto should be al dente. Okay? It's still a bit hard until we're going to serve. It's going to cook. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to grab my other pot for the moment, put it on the fire, raise the heat because it's still cold, just some oil, because I'm going to do my other risotto. Okay, I'm going to bring the pulp because I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to use my pulp this time. And there we have our lovely pulp cooking already. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to bring the other risotto we saved earlier, put it inside our pan. That's great. And that is going to start cooking. It's important. We've already cooked that other risotto, but it's still cooking now with its own warmth. So we're going to cook this for a bit. And earlier what I did, I got some beetroot. Okay? Some simple beetroot, and I macerated it. Okay? When you say macerate, what do you mean? You put it into a food processor or one of these, our lovely graters, and I get it into a pulp. You could also use a knife and just get your beetroot, not the pickled beetroot, just the raw beetroot, but cooked. And I've turned it into a paste. I've put it in there. I'm gonna add my dill.